All right, Mishmash Monday inside the State House today. It is an election year, worth pointing that out, so lots of election-related bills currently making their way through the legislature. In the House State Affairs Committee, Representative Mike Moyle's ballot harvesting bill, otherwise known as House Bill 547. It's the same bill Moyle tried to pass last year, but it has a few tweaks this go-around. It would allow someone to carry up to 6 ballots, as long as those ballots come from their house. If they're caught with 7 to 10 ballots, well, it's a misdemeanor. Secretary of State's office says they're also behind the bill, but public testimony told a different story today.
What is the compelling reason for making it more difficult or impossible for the disabled, the elderly, reservation residents, those in care facilities, the sick, and those lacking transportation to exercise their constitutional right to vote?
When ballot harvesting is allowed, it essentially encourages people, and we've seen this in other states, who are partisan actors who have the greatest interest in the outcome of election to get involved in the collection and conveying of ballots. And we don't think that that's a good practice.
And just to be clear, there has been no reports of ballot harvesting in Idaho. And despite public testimony against the bill, it did pass along party lines. There's also the bill from Republican Representative Doug Okonowitz, of Hayden. It would require Idaho's unaffiliated voters to decide if they want to change their affiliation. And they have to do that by March 11th if they plan to vote in the primary. You can still vote, by the way, if you're unaffiliated, but you just get a nonpartisan ballot. Basically, this bill says if you are already affiliated with a party, but you want to switch, we have to do it by March 11th. Why March 11th? That's the same day candidates must file if they plan to run for office. Right now, under Idaho law, you can register with a party the day of the primary election as long as you're not already affiliated. Well, they say this is the way to make everything more consistent and keep bad actors out of the primary.
Some time ago, we created a closed primary for the Republican Party, and they're trying to work around that. They're just trying to, influence the outcome of an election in that way, and they have the right to do that. We're just trying to make it a little bit more consistent with the dates.
Unfortunately, this bill would stop folks from voting for a person that they consider to be the best candidate.
Well, I did add that they believe the vast majority of unaffiliated voters don't quite, or quote, I should say, game the system, but this is to weed out the ones that do. We know we've spoken to Ada County Clerk Phil McGrain about this before, and he's told us data shows, well, very few change their party affiliation just to vote in a certain primary election. Right now, there are about 1 million registered voters in Idaho. About a third of those are unaffiliated. And like the ballot harvesting bill, all public testimony was virtually against it. Yet it also passed committee along party lines. Both of these bills have emergency clauses written into them, meaning if they are signed into law by the governor, they would go into effect immediately and go into effect before this season's elections. Both are now heading to the House floor for debate. Idaho's primary election, by the way, May 17th, which is 92 days away.